Thanks everyone, and what a delight to be here in Manchester ahead of a huge night of boxing this Saturday from the AO Manchester Arena, live on Sky Sports box office in the UK and DAZN all around the world. I think the card of the year so far, so much to talk about here today, from the big heavyweight main event to the undisputed World Championship to the World Light Heavyweight Championship and much, much more. We start before that with the return of Scott Fitzgerald. So pleased to see this young man back in action. This fight will kick off our Facebook transmission earlier on in the night before we go live on Sky Sports box office against Gregory Trinell from France. Welcome, Gregory. Fitz, first time for you, mate, back in a long, long time. In fact, you asked me what was going on with the press conference setup. You were used to all the old tables. Things have changed. You're in the bubble. But what a moment for you to be back. You must be over the moon.
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. I'm buzzing to be back. And like you say, it's been a long time, 18 months. And yeah, it's all, this is new to me, a new setup to me. So yeah, that's how long it's been. But I'm looking forward to getting in Saturday, doing a job and getting myself back in the mix.
You're on a tremendous run. You know, you had that great win over Anthony Fowler. You had the win over Ted Cheeseman for the British title. You were flying high. You know, things come crumbling down for you. How difficult has it been to sort of dust yourself back and get back in this position? You should be proud of yourself. You know, at times, I didn't know whether you'd be back in the sport. You've trained hard, and this is a small step backwards, but a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah. Cheers. Yeah, at one point I weren't sure if I'd be back in there, you know, and I've been working hard and really happy to be back here and about to get back in the ring. You know, like I say, at one point I weren't sure if I would, and get Saturday night, you know, do a job Saturday night and look forward to what's to come then.
Well, you left the strong division, you return in a thriving division, red hot division. I mean, you know, your old nemesis Anthony Fowler, he's going really, really well. He's world ranked now. Ted Cheeseman with a thrilling win over JJ Metcalf in Gibraltar. You've got Kieran Conway fighting Suleiman Sissoko on the Saunders Canelo card next week. So many huge opportunities. I know you're not looking too far ahead, but the Fowler the rematch is interesting. You won that fight, but you seem to still want to do it again. You know, you must feel you still got a point to prove.
Oh, of course, yeah. And not only that, I know that a lot of people want to see that fight again. So it's something I think I can do a better job on it, as well. So I'd like to get this fight out of the way. You mentioned another fight in July, and then look for one of them big fights, whether it's the Fowler rematch or whatever you want for October time.
Gregory, welcome. I know your English is limited and I've messed this up before, so just a quick word. Scott's been out of the ring for a long time. You ready? Ready to fight at the weekend?
Thank you for the fight and the perfect moment for me and beautiful opposition. And I am dangerous for Scott because I am crazy.
Right.
Yes. So.
Well, that's quite scary. I mean, you are crazy. He is the madman. I mean, he used to be. Are you still the madman, by the way? Is that?
I'm not so sure at the minute.
That's you're the nice man at the moment. Okay. But for now, I want to keep that nickname because it's. Go on, carry on. I was enjoying that.
Before fight USA Berlanga, it's not problem for me. Not problem for Scott, and good fight.
Good. Thank you very much. That was outstanding. What about a round of applause, please, for Gregory Trinell? Well done. That was very good. We got the crazy man against the madman. Fitz, just a quick word. I know that, you know, everything you've been through, I think, it's going to make an incredible documentary, but just a word out there, you know, you see a lot of people struggling at the moment for various reasons as well. You know, proof that you get your head down, you work hard, you can come through this. I think it's an important message for people at home.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, things aren't going great, and but it's not going to be like that for the rest of your life, is it? You just get up and just keep trying, and you'll get back, you know, get back.
Well, listen, mate, I'm chuffed to see you back. I can't wait to see you, fingers crossed, get the win, sorry, crazy man, at the weekend, and now get back into an incredible division at light middleweight. Gentlemen, if we can have a head-to-head up here, please. Thanks, Chris. Now we go on to the first fight of our live broadcast. Of course, live this Saturday from Manchester Arena, the AO Arena, live on Sky Sports box office in the UK, DAZN around the world, the IBO World Lightweight title. This is going to be a thrilling fight, one that sits on as fight one on the televised broadcast, but one that could bring all the action, even rolled in with this other great card. As I said, the World IBO Lightweight title, James Tennyson against Giovanni Straffon. Of course, another Mexican fighter that comes, and I have to just warn you, as I warned you when Maurizio Lara boxed Josh Warrington, I made some calls last night to check this young man out, and we got another thriller on our hands. Of course, you saw the upset that Maurizio Lara caused. James Tennyson, you're up for this. You know this guy can really fight. Big opportunity for you to take a piece of that world stage. Ready to go on Saturday.
Yep, huge opportunity for me. Big fight, big title on the line, you know, great opportunity for me to put myself up there and line some big fights up with the top lightweights in the world.
Of course, a lot of those other world championship belts taken. You know, we want to thank the IBO. We know that it's not as recognised as the other four. It is a form of the world title as well, but important to take a piece of that whilst all the other belts are held up as well. And this is going to put you in a great position.
Well, this is it, you know. This is the belt that I need to get me up there. It's going to put me in a great position. Like you say, the other belts are taken, and I want a piece of the action.
I've not seen a fighter or a management team with Mark Dunlop that basically accept every single fight. You know, this was an opportunity. Straffon came on. Mark Dunlop said, we'll take this guy. You know, you really are up for fighting all of these guys. And this is a guy who's going to be particularly live at the weekend. You know, I spoke to some of the guys in Mexico last night. They said, no, he can fight. He can punch. You know, he's game. He's durable. And he'll be there to win. You're expecting a tough night. Last time out, you walked through Josh O'Reilly. As you step up the levels, do you expect to start getting some action back and also having to go rounds against these tough guys?
Yeah, definitely. You know, listen, I'm looking forward to a good fight. You know, these Mexicans, you know, they've got a reputation for their toughness, their durability, and they bring it every time. So I'm excited. You know, I love these kind of fights. That's what I'm up for.
Giovanni, welcome, and thanks to the translation as well. We've had a lot of Mexican fighters that have been here recently that have caused upsets, heartbreak. Are you going to do that on Saturday night? Should we expect another Mexican victory for the IBO World Lightweight title?
No, yo vengo a hacer mi trabajo, yo vengo a levantar y ganarme el público y sobre todo vengo por ese sueño del cinturón.
He comes here for the upset, he comes here for the win, and he wants all the people from the UK and the world to watch him fight.
Although James Tennyson is from Belfast, Northern Ireland, he fights a little bit like a Mexican as well. Punches very hard, always comes forward. What should the British fight fans and the people tuning in around the world expect from you on Saturday?
Dice que a pesar de que él es de Belfast, él pelea como mexicano y golpea muy fuerte. ¿Qué pueden esperar los fans de esta pelea?
Pues podrá pelear como mexicano, pero nunca se ha enfrentado a un mexicano. Va a enfrentarse a uno que no se raja y pues espera una guerra, ¿no?
Well, he might fight as a Mexican, but he's never actually faced a Mexican, so he can expect a war.
Well, thank you, Giovanni. Good luck to you, James. And finally as well, ready for a real test on Saturday night, ready to go to war. We see what we always get from you. Should we expect the same? You're coming forward, looking to let those hands go and excite the fans again?
Yes, absolutely. You know, this got the makings to be a very exciting fight. You know, I'm primed, I'm ready, I'm very confident, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Giovanni. The IBO World Lightweight title, Tennyson against Straffon. This is going to be a cracker. Gentlemen, can we have a head-to-head here, please? Champions in the sport of boxing. Welcome to his team, Vadim Kornlov, and World of Boxing as well, Andrei Rybinski. And welcome up to Craig Richards, the challenger, and Peter Sims as well. This is a fascinating fight. Of course, Dimitri Bivol for a long time has looked like, as I said, one of the elite world champions in the game. The rise of Craig Richards, quite amazing. I remember the draw against Chad Sugden, and then you get the fight against Shakan Pitters. I'm watching that fight going, I don't know. He goes out, he absolutely destroys Shakan Pitters, ever since then, looking sensational in the gym. The more I speak to Craig, the more I see Craig, the more I see Peter Sims. You look at this and say, could this be one of the big British victories for a world championship? Since 2013, Britain has been without a world champion in the light heavyweight division, and this man has a huge task. I'm going to start with the challenger and his team. Peter, first of all, I remember the conversation so clearly. He beat Shakan Pitters. You came in, and I was talking about who we're going to defend the British title against. You said, we want to roll the dice. We want a big fight. I said, well, I worked with Dimitri Bivol. He went, he's perfect. We've watched him. We believe we can beat him. And I don't mind saying, I looked at you and I said, yeah, and if Craig loses, he can go back and he can defend his British. You said, he ain't losing. He ain't losing this fight. You've beaten the drum for Craig Richards. And there's a lot of people walking about this bubble that are starting to become believers as well. You really believe your man can become world champion on Saturday?
Yeah, I really do, Ed. And, I remember that conversation like it was yesterday, and I think the first words out of your mouth was, "Core blimey, mate." And you sort of looked at me like I was joking, and then you realised that I was serious. You know, we had a conversation before the Shakan Pitters fight, and I said to Craig, you know, it's not about if you win this fight, it's how you win this fight will define whether you're going to step up or not, you know, or whether you need to start at the British level or domestic scene for a little while. And as you just spoke about, you know, the way that he dismantled Shakan Pitters, for me, was a sign for him to step up. You know, I think he's 5th in the WBO rankings. He's 3rd or 4th in the British rankings. I believe he's the best British light heavyweight at the moment, you know. And it's like we spoke about before, you know, with Callum Johnson when he challenged Berbatov and Anthony Yarde when he went out and challenged Kovalev, you know. And it's about time, really, that Britain have another light heavyweight champion. You know, I was speaking to a good friend of mine earlier, John Conte, who's going to speak to Craig later on today, you know, and he said, this can be done, you know. Boxing's made of upsets. You know, if we go back to the Lloyd Hannigan, Donald Curry, and we go back to the Nigel Benn, Gerald McClellan, and recently, you know, Andy Ruiz Jr. and Harry upset Anthony Joshua. Can Spider upset the boat and beat Dimitri Bivol? I think he can.
I think when you break it down, you know this guy's a class fighter, but when you start to become a believer, you start saying, well, he hasn't boxed since October 2019. You know, he's over here I know we're outside of London, but in Craig's home country. You know, there's a lot going for Craig Richards in this fight. We know Dimitri is a fantastic fighter as well, but you've seen in the gym, we know he's been looking sensational in sparring, punching really, really hard in this fight. Got to be sharp from the get-go, though. Dimitri's got fantastic feet, fantastic speed as well. Got to be switched on from the first bell.
Yeah, you know, you can't deny Dimitri Bivol is a class fighter. You know, he had an absolute, you know, his amateur pedigree. You know, he's absolutely spot on, you know, and we're going this fight with total 100 respect for Dimitri Bivol. You know, he's a WBA super lightweight world champion, you know, for a reason. You know, his speed's good, he's got great feet, you know, he's got all the package, but we believe with the assets that he's got, Spider, and what he's developed and how he's progressed in the gym, that he can do the job and he can upset the boat.
Craig, big, massive opportunity for you as well. I see a guy who's not really here in awe of the situation, not here to make up the numbers. You really believe that you can become Britain's next world heavyweight champion, light heavyweight world champion?
Yeah, 100%, Eddie. I believe that, of course, I can become the next champion. As you said, I come off a good win for the British title. It's not like I was in a dark place in my career and it's like, oh, this is the only opportunity. I've got momentum in my career and I've only took this fight because I believe I can win and I want more momentum. As you said, people talk about me stepping up from the British and moving on. My career's been a bit backwards. Although it looks like I've just won the British and moved on, I've been beating unbeaten guys from early in my career. I've beat guys 12-0, 10-0, 12-1, 14-0. So I could have, if you look at all the other Brits who's pushed on, they've had one big domestic duff up and then they've moved on to the world scene. I've had loads, so I've had loads of experience. When's the time to move on? Like, I can't keep fighting domestically. I've had like 5 good domestic wins. It's time to push on. I've got enough experience. I've got to push on. I believe the time's now. A year ago, 2 years ago, if you asked me if this is the time, I'd have said, no, I wasn't ready. Now I'm ready to go.
You've watched this guy, of course. You've studied this guy, class fighter, has been inactive, but a tremendous champion as well. And you know, this would go down as a massive, massive win for British boxing.
100%. I think he's one of the greatest fighters in light heavyweight division. This is why he's perfect for the job, because I believe, as you say, people mention the other light heavyweights. Sometimes I wasn't getting mentioned, and I believe like I was getting overlooked. I beat great fighters, and after I've beaten them, people saying, oh, he's not all that, he's not all that. But granted, it's been at domestic level, and I believe that beating someone like Dimitri Bivol is a great WBA super champion, and a lot of respect to him. He's one of the best out there. I'll fully get the credit I deserve.
Absolutely. Vadim, welcome. Great to see you back. been a frustrating period for Dimitri Bivol. Looking for fights, looking for opportunities. I want to hear from you first as well. Everyone talks about, you know, the Beterbiev undisputed fight, etc. But a real test for you on Saturday night in Dimitri's first fight in the UK.
Thank you, Eddie. Definitely, it's been kind of frustrating for everybody, you know, with the COVID and everything going on. You know, there were a couple of opportunities, but I'm actually really excited for Dimitri to kind of have his first debut here in the United Kingdom, because the fans here are great, and you know, we've had a lot of success with Povetkin and getting a lot of attention, and I really think that you know, once Dimitri gets the fans to see the way he fights and the way he boxes, you know, unluckily it's not a fan visited fight, but still, you know, fighting here is exciting, and I believe that this is important. You know, this is important for him and his career, and I can see all the ambition on the other side, and I can see that you know, a real good team and professional team, and that will make the fight even more exciting because both guys are coming to win, and both guys, you know, have a lot of confidence. So I appreciate the opportunity as well, and you know, you helping make this happen is very important, you know, for both guys, and we feel very excited and look forward to this Saturday.
Dimitri, it's been a long time. Now, all of a sudden, you are king. These young fighters want to take this opportunity. They have what you want. You expect a good fight on Saturday.
Of course, first of all, I want to say thank you to you, to Craig Richards and his team to take this fight. And что ожидать, да, типа? And I'm missing for fighting, and I'm really looking for to go in the ring and make a great fight for all of boxing fans. And you know, I have a dream to be an undisputed champion, but I have some goals to fight, to make a fight in St. Petersburg, to fight in America, and to fight in England. And now my goal are realizing.
Obviously, there is talk about the undisputed fights, but first things first, tough fight on Saturday night against Craig Richards. And you've been out of the ring for a long time. You know, people look at that. Is that a weakness? And you know, this is a big moment for British boxing. A lot of people behind this would be a huge moment for British sport if he could dethrone you on Saturday night. So you have to be ready.
I just believe in my skills. I just believe I can beat him and move forward again. But of course, I think about only May 1st. My life, I'm living until May 1st, and then we will see what will happen. But I believe I train on all my life. I'm in boxing since I remember myself, and of course I have to be winner.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Dimitri. Thank you, Craig Richards. A tremendous fight for the WBA World Light Heavyweight Championship. Dimitri Bivol, one of the best champions in the sport, against Craig Richards, the British Light Heavyweight Champion, looking to make history at the AO Arena in Manchester on Saturday. Gentlemen, if we could have a head-to-head here, please. Up here, he said he's got some lines for this press conference. I was going to say, you know, I'll say it anyway, Joe. I said we've got some great fighters up here, some great personalities, some legends, and we've got Joe Gallagher as well. But I'm sure you'll get me back later on, Joe. But we can't wait for this fight. It's delighted to be co-promoting this fight with our good friend Callie Sowland. Massive fight for Marcus Morrison, of course, but also the return of Chris Eubank Jr., one of the biggest names from the British fight scene for a long time, of course, teaming up with the legend that is Roy Jones Jr. Welcome, Roy. Great to have you in the bubble. Callow, I'm going to pass to you first of all. You experienced a great run with Chris in the World Boxing Super Series, now in partnership with Roy Jones, of course. And I know the plan is to look at the big fight for the summer, but these guys, you know, Joe and Marcus, bang up for this fight. This is a lot more dangerous, we feel, than many do in this country.
And so they should be. That's what boxing's about. It's about opportunities. But
you know, it's exciting to be working with Roy. What a legend, one of my absolute all-time favourite fighters. But Roy came in as a bonus because we were talking with Junior before, and we weren't even sure the relationship with Roy and Chris during our discussions because everything was in lockdown. They were working behind closed doors. And, you know, Junior's one of those talents, they only come around, or personalities and talents that come around so often. And, you know, he reminds me of a throwback to the days in the UK growing up of, you know, where his dad performed, you know, where Ben performed, where Collins performed, where Naz performed. And he's, for me, he's a combination of all that. He's a throwback fighter. He's someone who's got the charisma, the warrior-like approach of his father. He's got the bang of Ben. He's got the speed of Nassim Hamed. He's got the, you know, the set on him like Collins. You know, you've got everything you need in a fighter. And now he's got Roy in the corner. He's got Wasserman boxing behind him, a powerhouse. And, you know, it's not here, you know, it's no disrespect to the other side here today, but we are here to take over. And Saturday's the first step on a massive, massive year.
Thanks, Keller. Joe, I'll start with you. First thing that I noticed about you this week is full of confidence. You know, I feel like you're here with your 2 charges almost as the underdogs. I think you love that. You know, you're in Manchester. Marcus is in Manchester as well. And there's a real feeling. The first thing you come over to me and said when I turned up was, you know, Natasha's going to knock out Katie Taylor. I'm telling you, he's going to do you back. You're charged up for this fight. Both fights, but you really believe your man has a great chance here to cause what would be a major upset.
Yeah, thanks, and good to see Calla. Not seen him for a good while.
See you, Joe.
Yeah, no, listen, it's a huge opportunity, and in my opinion, listen, it's got to be a rough, tough rugged type of fight, all action, and then obviously you've got Roy Jones Jr. What a legend as a fighter, but not only that, people don't know, but what a real gentleman outside the sport as well. Fantastic to have him here in Manchester. All right, Roy, he's always gracious, always kind, always has time for people, and most probably not people know that, but what a gentleman he is. So it's good to have you in Manchester, Roy. Welcome to Manchester. And having him involved has added that little bit of spice. Marcus Morrison has been at this arena 8 or 9 times now. We pushed him once before with Wellborn. Listen, it was man against boy at the time, do you understand? Wellborn then won the British title. He had a win then in Italy, went over as the underdog in Italy, had a good win, showed he had power late as he was early. Chris Eubank Jr. It's hard this fight because I've said in interviews, I'm a huge fan of Chris Eubank Jr. I do like the kid, I like him, he reminds me like Callum Johnson last week. He's just coming for it, he's having a straightener with you. Whether you like it or not, it's a fight. And that's what we like, and I think that's what boxing missing these days. Fighters that want to fight, and this kid can fight. But with Marcus Morrison, he likes to fight as well, and this is going to be a good fight. And Marcus with him, he carries power in both hands. We know he's a massive underdog, but when anybody in a fight can punch, you've always got to be wary of that and respectful of that. And Marcus Morrison on Saturday night will be going in there and hoping to land. And if he lands, it's what happens next. Can he finish it? We don't know. Can he survive? Can Chris survive it? We don't know. But we will have a moment in this fight, and then how the fight plays out after that remains to be seen.
Of course, in the World Boxing Super Series, you know, Chris was in that. You would have studied him as well. Marcus got to be sharp early in this fight. Great performance in Italy last time out as well, but both very sharp punchers in here, both with great speed. Should be a very exciting fight.
Yeah, listen, we had Marcus this morning at breakfast, just going over a few Chris's old fights early on. Very sharp grows. Spike O'Sullivan, the hammering he gave him in, I think, round 2 of a barrage of shots. We've had Chris in the gym in the past years ago. I know Chris, I can't talk bad of him. He's a good fighter and carries himself well, and he's a personality in boxing. But when the bell goes, it's down to Marcus and down to Chris. Chris is going to try and implement things that Roy has taught him, and that'll be it. They're talking about all these big fights and everything else, and they're entitled to and they're expected to. But sometimes you can take your eye off the ball if the wrong kid at the wrong time, you could come unstuck. And I'm not going to say they've not overlooked Marcus Morrison, but if they have, they could come unstuck on Saturday night.
One question about fighting behind closed doors. You've done it on numerous occasions in the bubble with your charges. Do you think that could play a part into the performance of Chris Eubank Jr.? He's a showman. He loves the big occasions, the crowds as well. How have you found that experience for fighters behind closed doors?
Well, you've seen it. Obviously, we were involved in the female fight of the year last year. Terry Harper and Natasha Jonas. Terry was used to having a huge crowd. We've seen it recently with Josh Warrington losing without his crowd. But I think for Eubank Jr, that the showman that he is and the crowd doesn't matter to Chris. Chris would go and fight Marcus Morrison in that car park over there. That's just what's bred in him. He's just a fighter. Whether there's a crowd there or not, he'll perform. And he isn't the type of man that say, oh, there wasn't a crowd there, that's why I didn't perform. That isn't in his gene, that's not in his blood. His father, him, they're a fighting family and fighting men. And that won't pay any relevance to this fight whatsoever.
Thanks, Joe. Before we go to the fighters, Roy, welcome. Some nice words from Joe there as well. Congratulations on your recent comeback as well against Mike Tyson. You look excited to be working with Junior. He's a great talent. He's someone that people feel has not quite yet achieved what he can achieve in the sport, and you're a big believer that this young man can go on and win world titles in the sport.
Yeah, I'm a big believer. Thank you all for having me. Thank you for everything you said, Joe. I really love to see so many different people. Good to see David. I haven't seen you in a while, so I mean both you, David. So I just really love the atmosphere. I love being here. And for me and Joe, it's like, you know, we outside the ring, we have to play mental chess as well. So we're here just to try to give our athletes the best opportunities to go out and showcase what they are. This kid has the ability to be anything he wants to be in boxing, and I'm sure his kid feels the same. So when you get a guy, you get a horse that can win the Kentucky Derby, you just got to get him with the right trainer in the right situation, and the sky becomes the limit. And I think that's what has happened with him. He's been doing so much on his own, and he got so far on his own that you have to take off your hat to what he did already. But now the fact that he showed up at my gym and he stayed there shows me that he definitely wants to get better. He wants to go to the top of the heat. He wants to win the Triple Crown, not just the Kentucky Derby. So I'm so glad to see him getting this opportunity. So glad to see Marcus getting the opportunity, because it's a great opportunity for him as well. And I just think you put on a great fight card. I'm looking forward to being a part of it. Thank you for having me.
Just before you go to Chris, I remember sitting in the Manchester Arena with you at the press conference afterward. I don't know if you remember, but after the Groves fight, and you had that terrific last round onslaught, and I said to you, get the corner sorted. You've got everything. You've got every asset, mineral it needs to go and rule this game. And you know, I think that the fact that the link-up, the dynamic duo, as I think it's going to be, was the perfect move, perfect timing. Just to add that in there. I remember having that conversation at the press conference afterwards.
I remember.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gary. And finally, Roy, quite a strange world that we live in, this boxing game, where, of course, you know, once upon a time you were looking for the fights with Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Jr, but you didn't think at that point you'd end up training his son.
Never ever. You never know what God has in store for you. That's why you just never say never, because you never know. Now it's like, because we didn't become rivals or enemies, I'm able to help his son. You understand? So.
Great story. Thanks, Roy. Marcus, over to you. What an opportunity. You know, it came, I spoke to Calla. He said, you know, we want a great fight. We want a great test. I said, you need a Brit. You know, we're in Manchester. Marcus Morrison, he was the guy. The opportunity comes. You were ready. You accepted the challenge. Excited for Saturday night.
Yeah, this is, you know, a massive fight for me, and I'm well aware this is sort of levels of above what I've been in with before. And you know, when I got the phone call, listen, there was no way I was going to turn down this fight. It's a great fight, and I think, you know, it's going to be, you know, full of excitement come Saturday.
Obviously, for a long time, you were seen as a big potential future star of British boxing. You lost that fight to Wellborn, and you know, he had some defeats on the way. You come back with a fantastic win in Italy last time out. But there's a lot of you that feels like you do have the levels to keep moving in the game. A lot of people felt like you had that potential early on, and now you get a chance to prove it against, you know, someone that's been inactive. We talked about Bivol against Richards and the argument of inactivity, etc. I know you haven't been the most active during lockdown as well, but behind closed doors, everything's set up. We're in Manchester. This should be some victory for you.
Yeah, like I said, like inactive, I don't think it's going to play a massive part in this fight. I think, you know, if you're a true athlete, a true professional, you'll stay in the gym, and you know, even if you've not got a fight, that you'll stay in and you'll work on your craft. And I believe both of us, you know, that's those type of fighters. You know, I believe Chris has stayed in the gym, and you know, if he's not been active, sort of under the lights, at least he's, you know, been in the gym and staying busy. And you know, it's the same with me. And yeah, listen, I just can't wait, and trust me, the fans are in for a treat.
Chris, welcome back. Good to see you on the card. I watched an interview with you last night, and I I saw a more mature Chris Eubank. Don't take that in the wrong way. It was nice. I thought it was a great interview, very humble. You know, you talked about the mistakes you've made. You talked about, you know, your upbringing, your goals in life as well. You still, you know, you're still edgy. You still want it bad. You still got that little chip on your shoulder. You still got the same fighting spirit inside you. You've been through a lot. You know, you had criticism, you had ups and downs, you had wins, you had defeats, you had huge fights. And you're here now for another run at it, another run to become world champion.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this fight is about, to see if that source is still there, you know. It's, you know, I haven't fought a 10-round fight in a long time. I've been out of the ring for a long time. You know, my last fight was, you know, in New York, end of 2019. It lasted 2 rounds. So the real last fight I had was February 2019. So, you know, this is my opportunity to get back in the ring and showcase everything that me and Roy have been working on over the last year and a half. And, you know, we've done a lot of work. You know, I have been inactive in terms of not being in the ring fighting, but in terms of what I've been doing in the ring with Roy at his gym, super active, you know, every day, week in, week out, learning, improving. You know, I think I'm one of the only fighters in the game that can say that during COVID, I actually improved as a fighter. You know, most fighters probably either stayed the same or got worse. I think I've ascended. So it's just up for me now to go out there and show off the skills.
I know that Calla had that conversation with you, but it was always a feeling within the sport that you needed that training, you know, to really funnel your talents that you had, the raw talents that you had. I know for a long sort of time you sort of felt I could do this, you know, not on my own, but, you know, I don't need to bring in anyone else. I have what it takes. I know what I've got. It's just a better understanding of boxing now that you needed to take those steps to reach your goal of becoming world champion.
Yeah, you know, what I was doing worked for me for a long time, but I got to a point where I realized that once you reach a certain level, you know, you need as much support as you can get. You need as many eyes on you as possible. You know, going into the gym on your own schedule, doing what you want, controlling the gym, you know, it's not necessarily the best way to do things, especially if there's somebody that can guide you better than you can guide yourself. I had a very hard time finding that in a trainer, which is why I chose not to have one for so long. But in meeting Roy, I found someone that I fully trust. You know, when he tells me to do something, I can't second guess it. You know, I can go on YouTube or watch a tape and he's doing the same thing he just told me to do in the ring. So it's been, you know, it's been a very eye-opening experience. You know, people say, you know, you wish you'd met him a few years before, and you know, I'm not going to say that, you know, things would have been different, but you know, everything happens for a reason, and I'd say that this is the perfect time that we met during COVID, and yeah, I'm very happy.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Calla, Roy, Joe, Marcus. Look forward to a great fight here on Saturday night. Chris Eubank Jr. against Marcus Morrison. Gentlemen, I think if we could all have a photo up here, it would be nice, and the fighters to the front, please. As the run continues of legends of British boxing, sons going on and moving through the divisions and challenging for world titles. Of course, Chris Eubank Jr. tomorrow, Conor Benn going extremely well, and this young man, Campbell Hatton, starting his professional journey. We see a little bit of a Manchester derby going on here. It's red against blue. Campbell, welcome. I think you would have learned so much from that Gibraltar experience. As I said to Matthew, you'll be hanging and blowing after 2 rounds you were, but what an experience, what an occasion. How much did you learn from that whole experience in Gibraltar?
Yeah, I learned a lot. It was, the whole week was great, a great experience for me. I enjoyed every minute, but like I learned just how hard a game it is. Obviously, the opponent I faced was a tough, durable lad, and I got the 8-ounce gloves on and thought, he's not going to last 2 rounds with me with these on. And like they are tough blokes, and you don't just knock them over. So now I know to like keep calm and not try and force things.
This time a little bit different. You got a Brit in the corner, fellow Mancunian in the other corner, and someone, you know, you've got a big scalp on your head, haven't you? You know, he's always had to go in against good young prospects. He always comes to fight, but these guys just step up a level when they get an opportunity to beat you as well. So something a little bit different this time, fighting someone from the same city.
Yeah, I've known Levi, I've sparred him, and like I know what to expect. So it's a good thing at this stage of the career to be able to put a bit of a game plan together, which you don't normally get. So I think that's going to help me stay calm as well, because I know like the specific things I need to do, and the United top makes things a lot better as well.
I got this on purpose, man.
Makes it easier to punch him, is that what you're saying?
Makes me enjoy it a lot more, yeah.
Levi, you came up here, you just said to me, I can't believe it. I mean, I've envisaged this my whole career, you know, to get a chance to be up here. And
well, I only started when I was, how old was I? 17 when I started boxing. And then like, from when I started, I just always see myself on Sky and Matchroom. And now I didn't think it'll be this fast either, and now I'm here.
I know your career so far, you've basically been slung in against top young prospects at short notice, etc. But I watched you fight. You can fight, and I think this is a really, really good fight, and what an opportunity for you.
I know, like, I'm just blessed to be here at the first place, but it's mad that this pandemic how it's happened, how it's unfolded. Like, I don't think it was going to happen like this because of the pandemic. The only fights have been hard fights out there, but like you just said, I go to win. I try my best. Each fight, I know I'm improving a hell of a lot. Each fight, I feel like I'm getting like 6 months, a year advance each time I fight. So it's only a matter of time before I feel like I'll be able to beat everyone in my weights.
Obviously,
and I'll carry on training.
Fellow Mancunian as well, you've sparred together before. I know sparring, but everyone has different interpretations of how to spar.
Sparring, I think I was training for a fight then, and I was quite light, and he was a lot bigger. He probably did get the better of me in sparring. But I'd say that was maybe, when was it, Campbell? Like maybe November, December?
Yeah, a few months back.
Yeah. So I've had like 3 pro fights since then. I've sparred a lot of top quality kids, so I feel like I've improved a hell of a lot since them 6 months ago. That was like when I first turned over professionally. I had 1 pro fight, but yeah, I feel like I've improved a lot since then.
Campbell, finally from you, more composed this time around. Is that the plan? Take your time a little bit more, listen to Matthew in the corner, and obviously build on the success of that first victory in Gibraltar.
Yeah, definitely. I think in my first fight, I've shown little glimpses of what I can do, and I've shown like I set a high pace and I can have a fight, but I didn't show my boxing brain and like the classy work that I can do. So this time, I want to show that patience and put in like a more classy performance.
Well, it's Manchester against Manchester here on a packed night of boxing. It's Campbell Hatton against Levi Dunn. Don't miss this one. It's going to be all action over 4 rounds on Saturday night at the AO Arena, live on Sky Sports box office and DAZN around the world. Gentlemen, if we could have a face-to-face here, please. Thank you. I'm exhausted so far. We've still got 2 fights to go. The biggest 2 fights on the card, of course, this one, the Undisputed World Lightweight Championship, the rematch from the 2012 London Olympics between Katie Taylor and Natasha Jonas. Welcome to the teams, Joe. Welcome back again. And Ross, good to see you again. Joe, I'll start with you. The first thing, I'll say it, you said to me this morning, I came over, and you said, I'm telling you now, we're winning on Saturday. You're confident, you're excited. You really believe Natasha Jonas will make history on Saturday night.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here if we didn't think that, Eddie. Listen, it's good to see the bookies are giving Natasha a better chance of beating Katie than they did Terry Harper. Do you understand? That's good for a start. Listen, it's friends reunited. Katie Taylor, what can you say about her? Do you know what I mean? What can you not say about her? What she's done, what she's achieved. She's a national hero back home in Ireland. What she's done for female boxing, amateur for Ireland, and then what she's done for professional female boxing across the world. Just nothing but respect for the girl. But this is the fight business, and come Saturday night now, it's strictly business. Katie Taylor, she's the media darling. And Natasha Jonas is going into this fight after a great career performance. She won the WBC super featherweight title. Only 2 people in the world didn't think she got it. But apart from that, she's the world champion in my eyes. So we've got Natasha Jonas now moving up to lightweight. And here she is now going taking on what people are describing as the greatest all-time female fighter. Natasha won her style. This is a fight that if there was to be 3-minute rounds for women's boxing, this would be it. If you go back and watch their London 2012 Olympic fight, it was brilliant. But to show how much both of them have improved since then would have been better in a 12-2s or a 10-3s contest. Because for 10-2s, we've got to cut short the fight, and we're going to shortchange the pundits of seeing how quality these 2 fighters really are. We've got a 10-round sprint here, and we're seeing that with Natasha's Fight of the Year, Ring Magazine Fight of the Year last year with Terry Harper. So with that, we're going into this fight. We've got the bookies now beginning to side a little bit with Natasha, they're closing the gap. The judges are going to have to come and do what they're to do. They're not to be here in order of UWEDA, in order of matchroom, in order of the event. They come here and score what's happening in the ring. Sky and the broadcasters have got to commentate on punches landed, not where they're from or what's going around. And I think sometimes too much is said when they're trying to commentate, like radio presenters. They've got to talk about what's happening in front of them. And sometimes nothing said's better. And I think let the action prevail. That'll talk everything else. Natasha Jonas is a strong live underdog. I'm telling you now, Katie Taylor, whether she wants to say it or not, this will be the hardest and most disciplined training camp she's ever had for any of her fighters, because she knows the serious threat Natasha Jonas brings. Whether she wants to agree with me or not, that's up to Katie. But I'm telling you now, with the sparring that she's brought in good Americans, Troy Anderson Jr., great kid on the amateur setup over there. They're absolutely training. They know the threat. Katie knows. So what we want in this fight is fairness by the judges, and we want the commentary to score on what's seen. Listen, I can't bad word Katie. She's absolutely fantastic. But what I'm going to say on the night, if everyone does their jobs, including me, and do the job, and Natasha does their job, I'm telling you now, we're going to have a new undisputed world champion come Sunday morning.
You said some very nice things about Katie. You have said in the media, just your opinion, that you feel that she's been hurt in fights. She doesn't have the same legs anymore. She's not as fresh as she was. Do you think this is the right time for Natasha Jonas? Do you think that do you feel that Katie Taylor's on the slide in the pro ranks? Is that what you're saying?
Listen, Katie Taylor had an extensive amateur career, and near the back end of her amateur career, listen, she had a few losses that Katie Taylor 3-4 years ago wouldn't have lost them fights. She's turned professional. Now, in the last few years, you can argue everybody, apart from a number of people, thought she lost in New York. We were there that night with Callum Smith. She's then come back, and then she's done the rematch with the Finn Pursoon, a lot closer than what people were saying it was. It was a hard fight. Katie's had an awful lot of hard fights of late, distance fights, and you know and I know, and this is what we're dealing with. I'm not talking bad at Katie because she's a media darling. I'm not talking bad and anything else. But if this was just a normal male fighter who people would think, Joe, what, has just gone to the peak and is just beginning to show signs, we'd be saying it, but no one wants to say it. But when you sit and study, you see things. Now, Katie Taylor against Finn Pursoon, round 3, she got buzzed with a shot, but no one picked it up. She got buzzed in another round against Christina Lenartado. But when you sit and watch and study intensively, there's things now. Katie, like I say, is a great fighter, but we've done our homework. We've got opportunity. I said to Katie has trained like a demon for Natasha, and we've got to see the best Katie Taylor we've seen for a long while, all right? But you've got to see the best Natasha Jonas. The Natasha Jonas now would stop the Natasha Jonas that fought Terry Harper. So this is it. We're coming, and all I'm got to say is sit back, not much to say, enjoy your popcorn.
Not much, we say not much to say. You've done 10 minutes straight.
No, but what I'm saying is, I'm trying to say the point is education. Well,
much more to say.
No, not much more. Yeah, not much to say. But listen, sit back, enjoy your popcorn, and enjoy what it is. It's the biggest female fight for UK and Ireland that there's ever been, and we're privileged to be part of it and to be able to see this event. I think it would never happen. I have to thank Brian Peters, obviously, for giving, and Team Taylor, for giving Natasha that opportunity. And we thank you for that. And like I say, we'll roll on to Saturday night now.
Thank you, Joe. Natasha, before we come to you, Ross, over to you. On the slide, I mean, you know, the toughest camp so far. You know the risks. I mean, this is a tough fight for you guys, but fully confident going into Saturday.
I don't think I could compete with that long spiel, but we're just here to win the fight. We train hard for every fight. This is Katie's 12th world title fight. It's their 12th fight period, so every fight's a big fight. So we're coming to win. We're here to win Saturday.
Arguably, last time out, I know Gutierrez wasn't pursued, but one of Katie's sharpest performances last time out. Is that what we should expect again on Saturday?
Nothing different. I mean, she's going to be as sharp as ever. So I thought, you know, we looked great the last fight. We beat Pursuit clear in the second fight, regardless of what he's saying over here. Fight before that, we looked great against Leonardo Tao. So there's no slide. You're going to see the best Katie Taylor on Saturday.
Thank you, Ross. Natasha, crazy how things work. Of course, you were chasing the Terry Harper rematch. You stayed patient. You didn't take any other fights. Then all of a sudden, the biggest fight in women's boxing presented itself to you. Massive opportunity for you on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think every time I'm asked to step up, I do, and I perform. Being the underdog for me is no different. I'm always the underdog on the big nights. So the more you tell me that I can't do it, the more I'll prove that I can.
Obviously, going into the Terry Harper fight, although you come back with a few wins, people looked at the Eubank defeat and maybe still tarred you with that brush. But how much has the confidence risen even further since that Harper fight? I look at all the clips of you and Joe, and you know, you look like you really believe now that you deserve to be up there as world champion.
Yeah, you've got to remember that going into the Terry Harper, we'd just come off a lockdown. You know, financially, you know, didn't know when I was going to box again. I had the baby 24/7 because the schools was shut. And I was just in a bit of a pickle about where I was going to go when the opportunity was going to arise. Obviously, we got that opportunity, and the baby came along to all the sessions, and she was a big part of that camp. And yeah, it was just great to be back, and I was starting from down the mountain kind of thing, mentally, physically, emotionally, and now I'm not there. After the Terry Harper, I'm at the top of the mountain, and I'm progressing up. I'm not starting from the low place that I was, building myself up to the Terry Harper fight. I'm starting at the Terry Harper and building myself up on that. My stats show it, you know, me body mechanics show it, my times, my weight, everything says that I'm well better than I was for the Harper camp, and I know I had to be there.
When you envisage this fight, when you think about this fight, how do you see it playing out? Do you believe you win this fight by stoppage? Is that how it plays out in your mind? I know that you say, you know, any means necessary, but I know that Joe feels that you can stop Katie Taylor on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think in boxing, you know, one punch changes everything, and I do believe I have power. I don't like making predictions. I don't want to disrespect anybody by saying that, but yeah, I do believe I've got the power to do so. And after the traumatic experience of round 8 with the Harper fight, I've promised myself, you know, that they are learning curves, and that will never happen again. So if I get that opportunity, it'll be the end of the fight.
Katie, welcome back, media darling, apparently, and, you know, undisputed world champion. This is a fight that's just continued to gain momentum. Of course, it's a fight that we talked about when you turned professional. At one point, we didn't think it would happen, but now it's here. You know, comments obviously from Joe that you've taken this camp seriously. I know you take every camp seriously, but you know the danger that Natasha Jonas presents.
This is why we're taking the fight, and we don't take any easy fights. I'm in this sport to fight the best, and in terms of training camp, our training camps are pretty much always the same. We train for every single fight as if it's going to be my hardest fight to date, and my mindset, my mentality doesn't change from fight to fight. So yeah, looking forward to a great fight on Saturday.
I know you've got great amateur rivalry, of course, everyone remembers the Olympics from 2012. Is that irrelevant at this stage? I mean, people talk about it, it's a great narrative, but you're both completely different fighters now.
Yeah, exactly. The fight was 9 years ago. You're right, we're both very, very different fighters now than we were back then. I think we've both developed and matured into great pro fighters, and I think the fight is going to be completely different Saturday night than it was in the London Olympics. You know, what works in the pro game doesn't work in the amateur game, and vice versa, and this is a completely different fight.
You haven't got loads and loads of professional fights. You did have a huge amateur career as well. And Joe, as nicely as he could, said that he just thinks you just might be on that way down. Do you feel like you're in your prime right now in terms of your training camps? I know you put a lot into those camps, but in terms of your performance, you feel like this is the absolute peak of Katie Taylor?
Yeah, I think so. I think my last few performances have showed that as well. I think I've shown my best in my last few performances. Like Ross was saying, Leonard had to pursue and fight the second fight against Pursuing, and then my last fight were probably my 3 best performances as a pro. So I feel like I am definitely improving and getting better each time.
Well, thank you, Ross, Katie. Thank you, Natasha and Joe. And whoever's phone that is, let's see who it is. Spencer Oliver. Can you believe that, Spence? Bad form, bad form. So disrespectful to a fantastic fight, the undisputed lightweight championship. This is a momentous occasion. You know what? I think women's boxing has got to such a level, we don't even talk about women's boxing anymore. This is just a massive fight. And well done to everybody involved in this fight for making it happen. These are the kind of fights that we need to see. And I do believe on Saturday night you'll get a thriller between Katie Taylor and Natasha Jonas for the undisputed World Lightweight Championship. If we could have a head-to-head here, please. Thank you very much.